Petersburg. Peter the Great started to build the city in this area, on the island, and he wanted to have here many canals, almost all the streets that cross, and people were supposed to go by boats. But it was not convenient, so they were built later, now they are streets. But nevertheless, we're here on Vasilevskiy Island, and in a minute we are going to pass bright yellow building. After his observation, the city was being built. It is one of the first buildings of the city, one of the oldest. You can see to your left. First, he was a duke, and that's why the crown's on the top. And you can see this typical roof. This is typical to the beginning of the 18th century. Some buildings were added later, but the center, this is the 18th century construction. Here on this island there were palaces of the nobility and the buildings for the government. For example, ahead of you, you can see a red and white, or we call them 12 colleges. Originally there was a big square in front of this building. That's the square. We passed the monument to Lomonosov, our first scientist, and the yellow and white building, the Academy of Science of St. Petersburg. The Academy of Science was also founded by Peter the Great, so as the first museum of the city. This greenish, bluish and white building to your left, this is the Chamber of Curiosities, or the first museum of different curious, interesting, unusual items that could be found around the world. Peter the Great wanted to educate people, he wanted to fight superstitions, and that's why he collected different interesting things that could frighten people and showed them to people the idea, and that was the object of science. Right in front of you, you can see the red column. You will see later the second one there. In the 19th century, it was decided that the port in the very stop soon there near the building was used to store the goods, and there is one more yellow building and 4 big rivers of Russia. To your left, you can see the grayish building with white columns. It was the exchange building, where the merchants exchanged the goods. And for a very long time in the Soviet days, it was the main naval museum. Now the building is the Petersburg Cathedral, with a very tall spire, which is one of the symbols of the city. And if you look back there behind the trees, you will go down the ramp, come to the water. At 11 o'clock, I'll wait. Former customs house is occupied by Pushkin Institute. You know, Alexander Pushkin, famous Russian poet who is one of the greatest, the main poets, is very much loved, and we have the whole institute that studies his creative works. Back there is the Church of Saint Catherine, and we are going with your to the Petrogradskaya side. This called Petrogradskaya side. To your right, you can see a ship, which is actually is not old, which is about maybe 20 years old. It's a so it is always here. It is a restaurant and a fitness club at the same time. Right now, we are planning to make a comfort stop.